Step 1. Create your answer document to respond to the summons. You know you're being sued in Minnesota if you receive this. This is a summons document that tells you that you're being sued. Usually, you'll also receive a complaint document that looks like this. This tells you why you're being sued. So to respond to these documents, you need to file an answer document, capital A answer document, within the 21-day deadline, right? An answer document isn't just like a little note that you scroll out in cursive on a piece of paper and send to the court. No, it's a professional legal document that needs to be filed and formatted properly. All right, so you start off by making your answer document by listing like the personal and important contact information for the two parties. All right, so that's like your name, your address, probably an email to reach you at, also the name and address for the plaintiffs and the plaintiff's attorneys. All right, that's like some of the basic court info. You can also list some of the basic case info. You should also list the name of the court, as well as the case number and other important identifying information. That brings us to step 2. Answer each item in the complaint. All right, so the complaint has a bunch of numbered paragraphs in it. And these are allegations. I might say like, defendant lives at 4013 South Street, Minnesota, right? Or I might say like, defendant's name is John Smith. Or defendant owes plaintiff $10,000, right? So those are all allegations. Each one of the paragraphs will have a number at the beginning of the paragraph. In the answer document, you need to respond to each one of those numbered paragraphs. And you have 3 ways to respond to each one of those paragraphs. You can respond by saying you admit that paragraph, you deny it, or you deny for lack of knowledge. If you admit something, it's basically you're saying you agree with everything in that paragraph, right? So you might admit a paragraph that says defendant's name is John Smith, if John Smith is actually your name. You deny a paragraph if you disagree with anything in that paragraph. If you disagree with anything, you can deny that paragraph. So like if the paragraph says like your name is John L. Smith, but you actually don't have a middle name, and L isn't the middle initial for your name, then you can deny that paragraph because you disagree with something in the paragraph. Also, if like the paragraph says defendant owes plaintiff $10,000, and then you might want to deny that, because if you admit it, you'll probably lose your case, because that's basically what the whole case is about. Then your third response is you can deny for lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge is basically saying, I don't know. And this is like a pretty safe response. You can really just say, I don't know. I don't have enough information to admit it or deny it. And it's just like basically like the best legal cop-out you could ever ask for. I just say, I don't know. Here is what an answer document looks like at SoloSuit. All right, if you use SoloSuit, we actually generate this professional legal document created by professional litigation attorneys, and has a great track record of getting people off the hook and getting cases dismissed. This is basically what our document looks like. At this point, it's important to remember that the burden of proof is on the plaintiff. What that means is that the plaintiff has to prove you owe the debt. It's not up to you to prove that you don't owe the debt. The case is actually all about the plaintiff proving that you owe the debt. So that's like a big difference here, right? So anything that you admit in the answer document is accepted as legal fact in the case and is no longer disputed. So if you basically if you admit everything, then basically the case is over because you aren't disputing anything. And it's really up to the plaintiff to prove everything. And the way we think about it here at SoloSuit is that denying isn't exactly like saying a paragraph isn't true. Denying is more refusing to admit that the paragraph is true. And you're basically saying, I want to make the plaintiff prove that this paragraph is true in court. Step 3, list your affirmative defenses. Our affirmative defenses are crucial. You only get a once-in-a-lifetime chance to make these defenses. If you don't make these defenses in your answer document, then you can't make them later. That's one huge reason to use SoloSuit's answer document online, is because we help you make all of the available affirmative defenses. A lot of forms, a lot of free forms, a lot of court forms, they don't even have a section for affirmative defenses, which really screws you over as a consumer. And even if they do, they don't really make it easy to figure out what affirmative defenses apply, which ones don't. And if you don't make it now, you cannot bring up the defense later. Okay, so these defenses are really important. They're basically, the first part of the answer is just you responding to the complaint. And now in the affirmative defenses section is when you can bring up your own points about why you should win this lawsuit. So affirmative defenses, they aren't just statements of like whatever, like the dog ate all my money, right? That's not an affirmative defense, right? Affirmative defense is a specific legal claim. Usually it's best if it's listed in like legalese on the answer document so that it sounds legit and that it's clear what defense you're bringing up. So I'm gonna go over like the legal terms for each of these defenses and I'm gonna explain what they are. Accord and satisfaction. This means that you made an agreement to settle for less and you paid that amount. All right, so you made an agreement or an accord and then you satisfied that agreement by paying it off. And now the debt collector has broken that agreement and is suing you for the debt that you probably already paid or you already settled. Discharge in bankruptcy. So that means the debt was eliminated when you declared bankruptcy. All right, if you declared bankruptcy, most of your debts get eliminated and people aren't able to collect that debt from you anymore. Duress. This is one of my favorites. Unfortunately, probably fortunately, it's not very frequently available to people. It means that you entered into the contract because your life was threatened. Somebody like held you up at gunpoint and said, hey, you gotta sign this document. That'd be duress. Actually doesn't happen that often, at least not with SoloSuit customers. Fraud. This means you entered into the contract because they like legally lied to you. Estoppel. They can't come after you for the debt because of something they did earlier. Next up is latches. This means that the plaintiff waited too long to bring this lawsuit against you. It's like you snooze, you lose, right? That's a really common defense as well. We just like throw that into most of our answers at SoloSuit. Payment. I already paid this. Now you can bring up this defense if you already paid off the debt, then you're being sued for it anyways, happens all the time. Release. This is a defense that you bring up. You bring up this defense if the plaintiff said you were off the hook and now they're suing you for it, right? So like, let's say you talk to somebody on the phone, you explained your entire story, then like, oh yeah, okay, it sounds like you don't need to pay this debt anymore. We're letting you off the hook. And then a month later you get sued for it, you can bring up the affirmative defense of release. Res judicata. They already sued me and I already won. Right, so let's say you're sued for this debt before, the case got dismissed with prejudice, or actually let's say you're sued for this debt before, the case went all the way to trial and you won, they can't sue you for it again. If they do, you bring up the res judicata defense. Now everyone's favorite, statute of limitations. This is saying it's too late to sue me. Okay, everyone always is searching for like whether or not the statute of limitations has expired on their debt, so I'm going to go into more detail on that.